In 1943, a steelworker's wife in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, named Dorothy Marsh, sat at her kitchen table every Sunday at 7 p.m. Her husband, Earl, earned $38 a week at Carnegie Steel. $14 went to rent on Larimer Avenue. $6 went to the war bond allotment Earl had signed before shipping to the Pacific. What was left, $18, fed 4 children and kept the lights on through 2 Pennsylvania winters. By 1945, Dorothy had $340 folded inside a coffee tin behind the flour. Her neighbors assumed the Marshes were struggling. They were not struggling, they were engineering. Dorothy did not use a budget, she used a system she built herself from a 3-cent notepad in a pencil she sharpened with a paring knife. They managed money differently, not with worry, but with arithmetic so precise it left no room for waste. These women did not look like they were building anything. They looked like they were surviving. Neighbors saw patched dresses in meatless Monday dinners. What they did not see was the ledger, the tin, the plan. They were running a system. It had no name. It had no book. It worked. We threw every one of those habits away the moment the supermarkets opened. We called it progress. We called it modern. The women who fed families on $18 a week and still banked something called it Tuesday. They called it just living. And now, the average American household carries $7,951 in credit card debt, while buying food they will throw away by Thursday. The distance between then and now is not technology, it is attention. Number 7 on this list saved the average home front household $4.20 every single week, which was the exact price of a ton of coal in 1943. Number 4 was practiced quietly in every Navy town from Charleston to Bremerton until the Office of Price Administration spent 2 years trying to discourage it and failed completely. And number 1, the single habit more Gold Star widows practiced than any other was never about food, never about money, and yet the Federal Reserve's 1945 Wartime Savings Report identified it as the primary driver of household financial survival across 14 American cities. Hit subscribe. Let us count down the 10 wartime habits that built more household wealth than anything that came after.
A munitions worker's wife in Dayton, Ohio, named Vera Hollis, kept every grease stripping from every pan in a coffee can on the back of her stove in 1943. Every Saturday, she walked that can to the local butcher on 5th Street. He paid her 4 cents per pound for rendered fat. The War Production Board's 1944 data showed that recycled cooking grease was processed into glycerin for artillery shell propellant. Vera did not know the chemistry. She knew the 4 cents. Over 52 weeks, that can earned her $2.08, enough for 4 pounds of dried beans, which fed her family for a full month. The government needed her grease to fight a war. She needed it to pay for dinner. Both things were true at the same time. A Navy man's wife in Charleston, South Carolina, named Helen Pruitt, grew 7 varieties of vegetables in a 12 by 14-foot plot behind her rental house in 1944. She spent 31 cents on seeds in March. By August, the USDA's Victory Garden Bulletin, 1943, estimated that a well-kept plot of that size produced the equivalent of $58 in fresh produce at OPA-controlled market prices. Helen spent nothing on vegetables for May through October. Her neighbor paid $1.10 a week for the same volume at the corner market. The ration book told Helen what she could not buy. The dirt behind her house told her she didn't need to. A Gold Star widow in Baltimore, Maryland, named Marguerite Oates, received her husband's $10,000 National Service Life Insurance payout in February 1944. Every financial instinct in 1944 America said deposit it. Marguerite did not deposit it. She used $2,200 to pay off the balance on a 2-family row house on North Calvert Street. She rented the upper unit for $27 a month. By December 1944, she had recovered $243 of the purchase premium.
The American Red Cross Home Service Report, 1944, documented 1,400 similar cases of war widows converting federal death benefits directly into income-producing property rather than savings accounts. The government gave her a sum. She turned it into a salary. The war took her husband. It did not take her arithmetic. A factory girl in Detroit, Michigan, named Rose Kaminsky, worked the 6 a.m. shift at the Willow Run bomber plant in 1942. She earned $42 a week, more than she had ever seen. The Office of War Information Survey, 1942, found that first-time female wage earners in war industries increased personal spending by an average of 61% within 90 days of their first paycheck. Rose was the exception. She opened a separate savings account the same week she started, an account she told no one about, not her mother, not her boyfriend. She called it the quiet account. By VJ Day in August 1945, the quiet account held $1,140. Washington set the wage, Rose set the rule. Nobody else said anything. A shipyard worker's wife in Norfolk, Virginia, named Clara Benton learned to resize clothing using a Singer treadle machine she bought secondhand for $3.50 in 1942. When her oldest son outgrew his school trousers, she cut and re-hemmed them into shorts for the second boy. When those wore out, she cut them again into patches for the knees of the youngest's overalls. The War Production Board's 1944 data showed that American household spending on new clothing dropped 34% between 1941 and 1944. Not because clothing was rationed like food, but because women like Clara made the old clothing last. One pair of trousers became 3 garments across 3 children across 3 years. The fabric ran out. The ingenuity did not. A woman in Gary, Indiana, named Estelle Ryback worked the night shift at a sheet steel facility from January 1943 to September 1945. She earned $34 a week. Her husband was at Guadeloupe. She had 2 daughters, aged 6 and 8. Every week, without exception, Estelle purchased an $18.75 Series E war bond from the payroll deduction window at the plant entrance. She did not think of it as saving. She thought of it as a bill she owed to the country, same as rent. When her husband returned in October 1945, she had accumulated 104 bonds. Face value at maturity was $1,950. The Federal Reserve's Wartime Savings Report, 1945, found that women who treated war bond purchases as non-negotiable fixed expenses, identical in their minds to rent or utilities, accumulated 2.7 times more savings than those who purchased bonds voluntarily when funds allowed. Estelle did not save what was left over. She spent what was left over. The bond came first, every week, for 36 months. Her husband came home to a woman who had not been waiting. She had been working. The difference was $1,950 and a philosophy nobody had taught her. A Red Cross volunteer in Akron, Ohio, named Frances Sobieski canned 140 jars of tomatoes, green beans, and pickled beets in the summer of 1943. She spent $1.20 on lids and rings. The produce came from her Victory Garden. The Office of Price Administration reported in 1943 that commercially canned tomatoes ran 14 cents per 16-ounce tin. Frances's 140 jars were the equivalent of $19.60 in store-bought goods, produced for $1.20 in materials. She fed her family through February on those shelves. The grocery store was open. She simply did not need it. An army wife in Lowell, Massachusetts, named Irene Beauchard, ran what her street called the swap table, a folding table she set up on her front porch every Saturday morning beginning in 1942. Neighbors left what they had too much of. They took what they needed. No money changed hands. The Office of War Information Survey, 1942, documented informal barter networks operating in 74% of urban neighborhoods by mid-1943. The OPA attempted to regulate these exchanges under price ceiling rules. In practice, enforcement was impossible. Irene's table ran every Saturday for 38 months. She never spent a cent on the system. It was simply neighbors deciding that the market was optional. The government told her what she could buy. Nobody told her what she could trade. A war widow in Mobile, Alabama, named Thessaly Grant, whose husband had been lost at Kasserine Pass in February 1943, began keeping a written record of every cent that entered and left her household. Not a budget, a record. She wrote down what she spent after she spent it for 24 consecutive months. The Mass Observation Archive, Britain, 1942, studying parallel behavior in British homefront households, found that women who recorded expenditures retrospectively, not projecting forward, but writing down what actually happened, reduced unconscious spending by an average of 22% within 6 months, with no conscious effort to cut anything. The act of seeing it on paper changed the behavior. Estelle did not plan her spending, she witnessed it, then she witnessed it change.